time. And I wrote out my little dialogue, like, but she kind of threw me some curveballs. Like, I don't know what peaches means. I don't know what peaches. So she kind of said some things and I was like, oh, like, no say, I don't know, like, and asked her to repeat and like slow down. And she was so nice. It was so fun. I was so scared.
Well, okay, cool. So let's back up a little bit there. So you ordered a cake in Spanish. So you called what, a Mexican
panaderia.
Panaderia. Okay. Which one did you call?
El País. Yeah.
Located
on Colfax. El Paisa. Yeah. But I did the whole thing. I gave her my credit card number in Spanish. I gave her my phone number in Spanish. I did. Yes. That one. Yep.
Okay, cool. So you called the El Paisa. El Paisa, Panaderia El Paisa. Okay, yeah, that's not too far away from where I live. Cool.
Okay. Yeah. I'm so proud. It was so scary.
Yeah, and that's the real deal. Like, I would be willing to guess she didn't speak English.
No. And so when I asked her to like mas despacito and everything, and she did, and she was very when I was kind of like struggling, she would sort of like fill in the word for me. I'd be like, yes. So it did it. So now maybe the cake is not what I want it to be. I don't know, but we'll see.
We're gonna find out, right?
Yeah, we're gonna find out.
I'm sure it's going to be. So you said that you had done a little dialogue in it. Okay. Do you want to share that with me to go over it together?
Yeah. So I said, hola, buenos días. Quiero ordenar un pastel de 3 leches para el cumpleaños de mi amiga. And I said, lo necesita para el 23 de abril.
Okay, hold on, let's go there. So, quiero ordenar un pastel de 3 leches para el cumpleaños de mi amiga. Amiga?
Yep.
Lo necesito para el 24. 23.
Yeah, de abril. And then I said, escribir feliz cumpleaños, Jenny, por favor.
Okay, so here where you could say, I'll give you the usted form. Escriba.
Okay.
Feliz cumpleaños. Did you say Jenny?
Yep. And then I had asked like cuánto cuesta, and then muchas gracias. But yeah, she kind of threw me a curveball and asked me what sort of like jelly filling I would like in the cake as well. But and I was like, oh, I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready for her to ask me about jelly, but yeah.
Okay, so let's back up a little bit. So let's imagine the cake shop said, I'm gonna guess they answered the phone by saying "sí bueno."
Yep. Yeah, and I just went right into it because I was like, I don't know what to do.
Right. So this is funny because like we, normally in a professional situation like this, you would, here in the United States, we're definitely accustomed to the person answering the phone, saying who they are, the name of the store, right? You're not going to find that in Latin America so much, right? So they said, sí bueno, right? Bueno.
Yeah, yep. And just kind of, it was very casual. Yeah.
Okay. So perhaps you started off and said, you just said you had to say what you had to say, right?
Yeah.
So let's just imagine you said, hola, buenos días, quiero ordenar un pastel de 3 leches Just so you know, and what you said is the right thing to say. However, this word pastel, depending on the country you're in, can get translated into multiple things. Like to say cake totally depends on the country that you're in.
Okay.
And honestly, from what I've seen in a Mexican panaderia, you would say quiero un cake.
Okay. And she did say cake back to me, and I said yes. So that makes sense. Okay.
Yep. It's just what they say in Mexico, right?
Okay.
Especially, you know, in, how do I put it the right way? Especially Mexicans in the United States. They're much more likely to say un cake.
Yeah.
I did notice, I was surprised, because typically when you're actually in Latin America, you see that go away. But last time I was in Puerto Vallarta, which was about a year ago exactly, they had pie on the menu. Of course, it wasn't spelled the way we would spell pie, but it was pie, like phonetically, it came out to sound like pie. So they weren't calling it, you know, what the Spanish word for it was. So it was like pie de limón.
That's too funny.
It was like P-A-Y or something like that. So like how we would say pay, but pie. Right.
Well, and even like last night, Drake, I'm so sorry, at dinner, my boyfriend, when he was ordering, it was like, he said something, he was speaking Spanish, and then he was like sour cream, and then just kept going. And so I think that, yeah, a lot of the English words kind of seep in.
So I would imagine that she would have responded to that by saying, para cuando lo necesitas? And actually, probably she would say, para cuando lo necesita, in the form of usted, which we're going to be talking about today.
Okay.
And that's where you say, lo necesito para el 23 de abril.
De abril.
Now maybe she would say, quiere que escriba algo en el cake.
Yeah, and she had asked if I wanted, something to write something or a photo. And I was like, no photo.
Okay, so quiere que escriba algo o ponga una foto en el cake. And so here's where you would say escriba, which is the usted command form of the verbs. It's super simple. It's the endings are reversed, and then there's no S. So what that means, if it's an AR verb, it would end with an E. And if it's an ER or an IR verb, it ends with an A. And you get rid of the S, if that makes sense, right? So you would have said, or you should have said, maybe who knows what you actually said, but this would be the correct way to say it, right? Escriba feliz cumpleaños, Jenny. And you said something about peaches, duraznos.
Yeah. And I did not know. And she had asked somebody who wasn't on the phone, and then she came back to me and said peaches. And I was like, oh, okay, peaches.
How did that come up exactly?
Because she was describing, she was like frutas, like natural, like around the top. And so she was saying that it would be fresas and whatever peaches are.
Okay.
And I was like, I don't know what the second word is. but I know the other one is strawberries.
So maybe she said something like, está bien si lo adorno con fresas y duraznos. Duraznos. Right? So adornar is the verb to decorate. So like,
adorn.
Is it okay, está bien, if I decorate it with strawberries and peaches? And then you could say, sí, Está bien. ¿Cuánto cuesta? And then she would have said something like, el cake cuesta. Do you remember what she told you?
Yeah, it was 35. Yeah.
$35. Okay.
Dollars.
You may have ordered a fairly large cake. Just so
I
you know.
did. Yeah, she said that it would feed about, she said 25. Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah, which is, it's going to be, there will be a lot of people. So.
All right, good. Do you want to take a little screenshot of this conversation, right?
I do. I'm going to take it right now. Yeah, I was so proud. I didn't really know what her responses would be, so I was kind of winging it, but
that's the big variable, right? Because you never know what they're actually going to say, but at least you kind of. So did you do the dialogue before? Like you wrote out a little dialogue?
Yeah, I wrote it out and I like rehearsed it a couple of times.
let's rehearse it together.
Okay.
Hola, si bueno. All right, actually, let's go back to the beginning. So I would just say, si bueno.
I say, hola, buenos días. Quiero ordenar un cake de 3 leches para el cumpleaños de mi amiga.
Muy bien. ¿Para cuándo lo necesita?
Lo necesita para el 23 de abril.
¿Quiere que escriba algo o ponga una foto en el cake?
Escriba feliz cumpleaños, Jenny.
¿Está bien si lo adorno con fresas y duraznos?
Sí, está bien. ¿Cuánto cuesta?
El cake cuesta $35.
Muchas gracias.
De nada.
Yay.
So it might not seem like a really big deal, but you've been studying, you just finished the first level and you actually called a Mexican panaderia and ordered a cake. That's an incredibly big deal. Just so
I
was
was
in Spanish.
I was shaking. Shaking. I was like, I am so scared.
So check it out. You did it, right?
I did. And she was so nice and like let me slow down and kind of helped me out and everything. And so it worked.
That's awesome.
And I think I ordered the right thing. So yay.
Let me know on the 23rd.
Yes, I will, how it comes out.
Hopefully you didn't get a ham and cheese sandwich with peaches and strawberries.
With peaches and strawberries on it.
That's so cool. Awesome.
Yay.
Yeah, for sure. Yay. That's really amazing.
Yeah.
Good to hear that. Okay, cool. Well, let's get started. Today we're on the next level, Fundamentos de Español 2, Lección 1. This is the first level of our second level. And just a quick overview. The primary focus here is we're trying to add detail to your conversations. You've gotten to the point where you're somewhat conversational. Now you want to start adding detail so that you can make friends with people and perhaps start speaking Spanish at work or something like that. We can kind of skip over most of this. Hoy vamos a repasar cómo presentarnos. So we'll review again how to introduce ourselves. We'll do the regular verbs, los verbos regulares, y el alfabeto. And then new stuff. I'm going to introduce the concept of usted to you. We'll also learn the verb estar to talk about conditions and emotions. Estar means to be. Just to get started, ¿cómo se dice? What do these phrases mean? ¿Cómo se dice?
How do you say?
¿Qué significa?
What does this mean?
Puedo hacer una pregunta.
Can I ask you a question?
No entiendo.
I don't understand.
Repite, por favor.
Repeat, please.
Más despacio, por favor.
Slower, please.
Perfecto. So you might need one of those phrases for this activity. I might be using some words and phrases you haven't learned before. Kaylee, ¿qué necesitan los alumnos para tomar notas importantes en la clase?
¿Qué significa alumnos?
Los alumnos son los students.
So what do I need? Tomar notas importantes en la clase. ¿Qué significa tomar?
Tomar notas is to take notes.
So what do the students need to take notes, important notes in class?
Exacto.
Bolígrafo y papel.
Ok, muy bien. ¿Qué necesitamos para saber el tiempo?
¿Qué significa saber?
To know.
To know. Reloj.
Reloj. Necesitamos un reloj.
Reloj.
Muy bien. ¿Qué necesita el maestro para escribir y borrar durante una clase?
¿Qué significa borrar?
To erase.
La pizarra. Necesito la pizarra.
Ok. ¿Qué necesitamos para sentarnos en la clase?
¿Qué significa sentarnos?
To sit down.
La silla.
¿Qué necesita el maestro para mostrar una presentación?
¿Cómo se dice projector? Or I don't know. Mostrar would be like to present, like you're demonstrating.
Mostrar means exactly to show.
Okay, to show. Okay. So yeah, ¿cómo se dice projector?
Un proyector.
Un proyector.
¿Qué necesitamos para ver en un cuarto oscuro?
Para ver. ¿Qué significa ver?
To see.
To see. Cuarto oscuro. So a dark room.
A dark room, yep.
I don't know. I don't know what you would need to see in a dark room. Oh, like a flashlight, or something. A light, a lamp. Okay. ¿Cómo se dice lamp?
Una lámpara.
Una lámpara.
¿Qué necesitas para botar basura?
So what do you need? ¿Qué significa botar?
To throw away.
To throw away trash. ¿Cómo se dice trash can? Basura.
Sí, una basura, un cesto de basura.
Cesto de basura. Okay.
¿Qué necesitamos para mandar correo electrónico?
La computadora.
Una computadora.
Una computadora.
Ok, dime el alfabeto.
A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, N, O, P, K, R, S,
Q.
Q. All the time I want to say K. O, P, Q. R, S, T, U. V. V doble. X, Y, Z.
Okay, good. So a little bit better than the other day. Still need to study a little bit more on this one.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. How do you say yo? Or what does, perdón, ¿qué significa yo?
I.
Tú.
You.
Él.
He.
Ella.
She.
Nosotros.
We.
Ellos o ellas.
They.
All right. We briefly touched on ustedes. Do you remember that one? So what does it mean?
Oh, like they familiar?
You all.
Oh, it's y'all. It's
the
y'all.
plural
That's
form
right.
of you, y'all.
Okay, y'all.
Okay, so our verb endings with AR verbs like this look like this. O, as, a, amos, a.
Okay.
So put that together with hablar.
Hablo, hablas, habla, hablamos, hablan.
Okay, ER verbs look like this. O, es, e, hemos, en. okay? Put
Mhm.
it together with comer for me.
Como, comes, come, comemos, comem.
All right, finally, we've got IR verbs. O, es, e, imos, in. Put it together with vivir for me.
Vivo, vives, vive, vivimos, viven.
Muy bien. So today we're going to talk about usted. Usted is not a new conjugation, but it's a new form that falls into the third person singular box. Usted means you, but we use it when we're trying to be extra formal, polite, or respectful in Spanish.
Okay.
So think about when you're talking to strangers, authority figures, elders, or if you're missing someone, or if you're meeting someone for the first time. For example, you might say something like, disculpe, señor, ¿usted habla inglés? Usted habla. So notice how habla is in the he or the she form, right? So it falls into this third person singular verb conjugation. It's technically the second person. It's you talking directly to another person.
Mhm.
But I think I like to think about this like if you remember, if you ever watch like a costume drama where they're talking about royalty, you know, and there's a servant that comes to serve the king or the queen tea. And they're like, would His Majesty like a cup of tea? So they address the royal member of the family in the third person. And so I think about that like they're being so formal that they've directly removed themselves from the conversation. So you're kind of speaking in the third person, okay?
Mhm.
So like notice the third person would be, does he speak Spanish? Él habla español. However, we're using the same conjugation, usted habla español, to say, do you speak Spanish?
Okay. Okay.
All right, so for AR verbs, it's going to end with a, so it'd be usted habla. ER verbs ends with a, so it'd be usted come, and then IR verb, same thing, so it'd be usted vive. So practice this introduction. Imagine you're meeting me for the first time. What would you say to me here? Ask me these questions.
You say instead of te. So, ¿cómo se llama usted?
Me llamo David.
¿Cómo se deletrea su nombre?
Se deletrea D-A-V-I-D.
Mucho gusto.
Igualmente,
¿De dónde es usted?
soy de los Estados Unidos.
¿Dónde vive?
Vivo en Denver.
¿A qué se dedica?
Yo soy maestro de español.
¿Qué le gusta hacer?
Me gusta bailar.
Dígame algo interesante de usted.
Soy padre y me gusta compartir con mi hijo.
¿Qué significa dígame?
Dígame means tell me in the
Tell
use.
me. Okay. ¿Cuál es su número de teléfono?
Mi número de teléfono es 720-257-8539.
Estamos en contacto.
Me parece bien.
Hasta luego.
Nos vemos. Okay, muy bien.
So you use like say and su instead of te and tu.
Exacto.
Okay. And that is to indicate usted.
It's the usted form.
Okay.
We'll talk about some of this stuff in a little more detail in the future,
Mhm.
because those are some kind of grammatical things that come up.
Yeah.
But yeah, just for the time being, that's kind of the most important stuff for you to know.
Okay.
Muy bien. So now just practice talking to me in the usted form. So ask me questions, but in the usted form.
Okay. So usted habla por teléfono.
Sí, hablo por teléfono mucho.
And I need to start with usted. See?
You don't have to. Again,
No, I can just.
totally optional.
Okay.
Helpful initially to use it.
Yeah.
until you get the hang of it,
Okay.
just in case you happen to use the to form, at
Mhm.
least that way you started with usted, so that way the person knows you're at least trying to be respectful.
Okay.
But yeah, after you've established for the purpose of this, you just said usted to start the conversation. Now you don't really need to say it again
Okay.
because we know who you're talking about.
Okay. So viaja por el parque. Would that be like
Do you travel to the park?
travel to the park?
Yeah, that's a little odd.
Travel.
I wouldn't ask somebody if they traveled to the park.
So maybe
There's something else you could say there.
Camina por el parque.
Sí, camino por el parque.
Camina por las montañas.
Sí, camino por las montañas.
Toma cerveza.
No, no tomo cerveza.
Desea ron.
No, no deseo ron.
Reserva una mesa para su familia.
No, no reservo una mesa para mi familia.
Ordena entradas.
Sí, ordeno entradas.
Desea postre.
Sí, deseo postre.
Baila mucho.
No, no bailo mucho.
Viaja poco.
Sí, viajo poco. Sigue.
Right. ¿Usted bebe vino?
Sí, bebo vino. Perdón, no bebo vino.
¿Aprende español?
No, yo enseño español.
¿Corre en el gimnasio?
Sí, corro en el gimnasio.
Algo interesante. Something interesting. So, come algo interesante.
Sí, como algo interesante.
¿Qué significa calle? Calle?
En la calle, in the street.
In the street. Okay. Corre en la calle.
A veces corro en la calle.
Bebe 8 vasos de agua.
Sí, bebo 8 vasos de agua.
Aprende italiano.
No, no aprendo italiano.
Corre por la mañana.
Sí, corro por la mañana.
Come carne.
Sí, como carne.
Come dulces.
Sí, como dulces.
Said it right that time. I was reading it and I was like, the pressure's on. You need to get this right.
Nailed it. Good job.
Okay. ¿Usted vive en Denver?
Sí, vivo en Denver.
¿Escribe poesía?
Sí, escribo poesía.
¿Recibe correo electrónico?
Sí, recibo correo electrónico.
¿Recibe correo basura?
Sí, recibo correo basura.
¿Vive en una casa?
Sí, vivo en una casa. So, de su trabajo. About your work.
About your work. ¿Escribe de su trabajo?
Sí, escribo de mi trabajo.
¿Escribe una carta de amor?
No, no escribo una carta de amor.
¿Vive cerca de la escuela?
Vivo en la escuela.
¿Recibe un libro?
No, no recibo un libro.
¿Discute con su amor?
No, no discuto con mi amor. Okay, very good, Kaylee. Excelente. Bueno, on that same note, just to kind of fill out the full verb chart for you. Now, this is something that I'm just going to teach you today, but you don't really necessarily have to learn it unless you're planning on going to Spain, which most of my students are not. This is just the primary difference between what's called European Spanish and Latin American Spanish, which is the form of ustedes and vosotros. Now, I taught you ustedes means y'all, right? And that technically goes for all over the Spanish-speaking world, even in Spain. In Spain, they would differentiate between the plural you in the familiar and the unfamiliar form, kind of like what we just did with usted. So if you were in Spain talking to a group of friends, you would use what's called vosotros, which is like the plural form of two, only in Spain. And then again, in Spain, if you're talking to a group of unknown people, you would use ustedes. All right. So in Spain, you could say, una pregunta, caballeros. ¿Ustedes hablan inglés? Which is like saying, excuse me, gentlemen, do you all speak English? Versus una pregunta, muchachos, ¿vosotros habláis inglés? Which would be like saying, hey, kids, does one of you speak, do y'all speak English? Does that make sense?
Yes.
So there you're seeing kind of the formal versus the informal.
Okay.
The good news is you're learning Latin American Spanish for traveling in Latin America. All you have to know is ustedes, which is good for both of these situations.
Perfect. Okay.
Well, if you plan on moving to Spain, just know, or going to Spain, vosotros falls into this box of the verb chart that we haven't filled out yet.
Okay.
So for AR verbs, it would be ais, like vosotros habláis. For ER verbs, it would be eis, like vosotros coméis. And then for IR verbs, it would just be is, like vosotros vivís.
Okay.
And that's all I care about with the vosotros form, right? So learn it if you want to, or don't learn it. It really, we're never going to use it in class.
Okay.
Okay, so the word how is como. ¿Cómo estás?
Muy bien.
¿Cómo está el tiempo? How's the weather?
Oh, tiempo can also be time.
Tiempo is normally time. It can also mean weather, depending on the context of the conversation.
Okay. So
it kind of makes sense. Like, what's the time?
Like the
weather?
time,
like what's going on out there? Kind of. I made it make sense in my head.
Yeah, I guess. So, ¿cómo está el tiempo? El tiempo es, well, I guess it's not time.
Está.
So, está, so el tiempo está bien.
Yeah, I would say, for example, está lindo. Today is very nice. It's a beautiful day. Say está lindo. Kaylee, ¿cómo vas a tu trabajo?
So how that, ¿qué significa vas? Vas?
How do you go?
Oh, how do I go to work? Trabajo en mi casa.
Entonces, caminas.
Caminas.
Bueno, you say camino.
Okay, yeah, so camino to my desk.
A mi escritorio.
Escritorio.
Muy bien. ¿Cómo te gustan estas clases?
Sí, me gustan mucho.
¿Cómo limpias tu carro?
¿Qué significa limpias?
How do you clean your car?
Car wash.
En el lava auto.
Lava auto.
Muy bien. Okay, estar is the verb to be. Okay. So if you wanted to say, how are you? I would say, ¿cómo estás? And you would say, estoy bien. which we've been doing since the first day of class.
Mhm.
In this level, we're going to learn that this verb is an irregular verb conjugation if you haven't already noticed it, right? So what do I mean by that? Well, it's an AR verb, so you should take away the AR and then just add back O, right? But we're not saying yo esto, we're saying yo estoy. So because of this Y here, that makes it irregular. Same thing with tú estás, because it's got that accent mark on it, that makes it irregular, right?
Okay.
Kaylee, ¿cómo estás?
Estoy bien.
Okay, so imagine you're the person in the picture here. ¿Cómo estás?
Estoy bien.
Estoy bien, estoy contenta.
Oh, okay. And estoy contenta. Estoy, ¿cómo se dice sad? Mal. I guess that would be bad.
Yeah, so we're looking for sad.
Mm,
Triste.
triste. Estoy triste.
¿Cómo estás?
Estoy, is he excited or or bored?
Yeah,
Or,
so
I'm
you're
sorry.
excited and bored,
Yeah,
but on the left excited. So ¿cómo estás?
Okay. ¿Cómo se dice excited?
Emocionado.
Oh, emocionado. Okay, and then bored is, I don't know, bored. ¿Cómo se dice bored?
Aburrido o aburrida.
Aburrido.
So you would say estoy aburrida.
Okay. Aburrida.
All right, on the left, ¿cómo estás?
Estoy, so I'm assuming depressed, like deprimida.
And on the right, ¿cómo estás?
In love. What is it? Enamorado. Estoy enamorada. Like enamored. Enamorada. Okay.
¿Cómo estás?
Estoy cansada. Estoy cansada. Is she awake? Estoy, it begins with a D. Despierta.
Okay, the third person singular would be está, also with an accent mark, making it irregular, right? So él está, he is, ella está, she is. And then we just learned usted means you, so usted está is technically you are, right? ¿Cómo está Jaime?
Está enamorado.
Enamorado. ¿Cómo está George Lopez?
George está feliz.
¿Cómo está Lionel Messi?
Lionel está triste.
¿Cómo está Celia Cruz?
Celia está emocionada.
¿Cómo está Homero?
Homero está aburrido.
¿Cómo está Mark Anthony?
Mark está deprimido.
¿Cómo está Jennifer Lopez?
Jennifer está enamorada.
¿Cómo está Shakira?
Shakira está despierta.
¿Cómo está Barack Obama?
Barack está cansado.
Okay, nosotros would be estamos. Kaylee, ¿cómo estamos en la clase de español hoy?
Estamos emocionados.
Muy bien. ¿Cómo estamos a las 10 de la mañana?
So this is asking me. Estamos. I'm sorry. Can we go back really quick? So estamos means
We are.
we are, but
Yeah,
we are.
We are.
Okay.
We are. What's the question here?
No, I'm sorry, but it means like it's like we are formal, right? Versus
There's no formal or informal here. It just means we are.
heck. Okay, but so then what's the difference between nosotros and estamos?
Nosotros means we.
Oh. Okay.
Nosotros
And this is we are.
Yeah, so estamos means are. It's
Okay.
the verb to be, it's the conjugation, but nosotros means we.
Just we.
Like
okay.
if I was to say nosotros hablamos means we talk.
We talk. Okay. But you would say like estamos habla.
No. You're confusing. Estamos means are. Nosotros means we.
We. Okay.
We need to go back a little bit.
Okay. Sorry. Yeah.
That's okay. All right, so remember, Kaylee, yo vivo en Denver means I live in Denver. Tu vives in Denver means you live in Denver, right? David vive in Denver means David lives in Denver, okay? Now, when we go into the plural form, we can say something like David y yo vivimos en Denver. David and I live in Denver, right? So this is what we call the nosotros form. Nosotros means we.
Okay.
So if we take an AR verb, it's going to end with amos, that we're going to add to the end of all of our AR verbs. Nosotros hablamos means we talk, right? So this amos is just like saying nosotros, which means we. The verb is talk, right? So hablar means to talk, but hablamos means we talk.
Okay.
Right? So ordenar means to order. How do you say I order?
Ordenó.
How do you say you order?
Ordenas.
How do you say he orders?
Ordena.
She orders.
Ordena.
And make this a little stronger. Ordena.
Ordena. Okay.
Right? Now, how would you say we order?
Ordenamos. There's somebody outside, God forbid. So.
All right. So tomar means to drink. How do you say I drink?
Tomo.
Can
Tomas.
my dog's the same way. So
he has a lot to say.
yes, he doesn't quite understand that we live in a residential neighborhood.
Yes,
people are allowed to walk.
They're allowed to walk and just live, and he says no.
Yeah, my dog's the same thing. All right, so how do you say you drink?
Tomas.
How do you say he drinks?
Toma.
So go ahead and use the subject pronoun for me.
So él toma.
And then she drinks.
Ella toma.
And then we drink.
Nosotros tomamos.
right? So you really need to understand that nosotros means we.
Okay.
Okay. What about reservar?
Yo reservo. Tu reservas.
So hold on. What does reservar mean?
To reserve.
Right. So what's happening here is we're missing the meaning, right? And this happened to us a couple of weeks ago, where you were able to go through the stuff and then you said, wait a second, what does it actually mean, right? So it's not helpful if you don't understand the meaning. If there's no meaning, then we just have to slow down a little bit and check that. So reservar means to reserve. How do you say I reserve?
Yo reservo.
You reserve.
Tu reservas.
And then he reserves.
Él reserva.
She reserves.
Ella reserva.
And then we reserve.
Nosotros reservamos.
How do you say I dance?
Yo bailo.
You dance.
Tu bailas.
And then he dances.
Él baila.
And then she dances.
Ella baila.
And then we dance.
Nosotros bailamos.
All right. Is that helpful?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So if we go back over here. So remember, nosotros just by itself means we. It's the combination of nosotros estamos that means we are, right?
Mm-hmm.
Also, remember, you don't have to say nosotros. Estamos by itself means we are just as much as nosotros estamos means we are.
Okay.
So like in this question that I was asking you, ¿cómo estamos en la clase de español? What does estamos mean?
Like how are?
Well, how are we? Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So when I say ¿cómo estamos? I'm saying how are we, right?
Okay.
Kaylee, ¿cómo estamos en la clase de español hoy?
Estamos emocionados.
Perfecto.
So we are excited. Okay.
¿Cómo estamos a las 10 de la mañana?
Estamos 10 de la mañana. Estamos
Contentos.
Okay.
So
I would
make it plural
contentos,
because we're talking
sí.
about us. Yep.
Us. Mm-hmm.
¿Cómo estamos a las 10 de la noche?
Estamos cansados.
Nuestro compañero de clase viene con una botella de vino. ¿Cómo estamos?
¿Qué significa nuestro? Nuestro?
Nuestro means our.
Our compañero de clase viene. ¿Qué significa viene? Viene.
To come. So our classmate comes.
Oh, with a but. Oh, okay. So estamos emocionados.
Nuestra boda es mañana. ¿Cómo estamos?
¿Qué significa boda?
Wedding.
Wedding. So, estamos emocionados. Estamos emocionados.
La clase de español termina. ¿Cómo estamos?
Estamos tristes.
Y estamos esperando en el DMV por una hora. ¿Cómo estamos?
¿Qué significa esperando?
Esperando means waiting. We're waiting at the DMV for an
hour. Okay. Estamos aburridos.
Aburridos. Muy bien.
Aburridos.
Good. Vamos a Argentina la semana que viene. ¿Cómo estamos?
Semana es weekend.
Week.
Okay. Estamos emocionados.
Nuestro equipo favorito no gana ni un partido.
¿Qué significa gana?
To win.
Partido. ¿Qué significa? A game. Oh, okay. So estamos emocionados.
Nuestro equipo favorito no gana.
Oh, no gana.
partido.
Oh, no gana. Okay, so the other end. Estamos tristes.
Okay, good. If you're in Spain, you could say vosotros estáis. Everywhere else in the world, you can say ellos or ellas están, they are. Ustedes están, y'all are. Kaylee, ¿cómo están tus colegas de trabajo?
Están muy ocupados.
¿Cómo estás?
Bien. Muy, so I would say estoy bien. Estoy bien.
Uh-huh. ¿Cómo está tu novio?
Están contento. Está contento. I was just reading number 2. Okay.
I didn't ask
está.
you number 2.
Yeah, no, I read están.
You don't have children, right? So
No.
I skipped number 2.
Yeah.
What did I ask you? Number 3. ¿Cómo está tu novio?
How is your boyfriend?
Eso.
Yeah. So está contento.
¿Cómo está tu mejor amigo?
Está contento. Yeah.
¿Cómo están tus padres?
Tus padres. So mis padres están contentos.
¿Cómo estamos nosotros?
Estamos contentos.
¿A qué hora empieza tu día de trabajo?
¿Qué significa empieza?
To start. What time does your workday
My workday start. Mi día de trabajo empieza 8 mañana.
Empieza a las 8.
A las 8. Okay.
¿Te gusta tu trabajo o deseas un cambio?
¿Qué significa cambio?
A change.
No, me gusta mi trabajo.
¿Puedes practicar el español en tu trabajo?
Sí, sí practico el español en mi trabajo.
¿Te gustaría ser actriz o música famosa?
Sí, me gusta.
Me gustaría.
Me gustaría.
Me gustaría ser.
Me gustaría ser actor.
Actriz.
Actriz.
Muy bien.
Okay.
¿Trabajas en una oficina?
No.
Entonces, ¿dónde?
Trabajo en mi casa.
Muy bien. ¿Para cuándo piensas jubilarte?
¿Qué significa jubilarte?
To retire. When are you thinking about retiring?
¿Cuándo? So when? Never. No. Long time.
Mucho tiempo.
Mucho tiempo.
Okay. ¿Te llevas bien con tu patrón?
Patrón. ¿Llevas? ¿Qué significa llevas?
In this situation, this is an expression. Llevarse bien means to get along with. So I'm asking you if you get
along with my boss.
Your boss, yeah.
Sí, llevo.
¿Me llevo?
Sí, me llevo bien con mi patrón.
Ok, muy bien. ¿Cuál fue tu primer trabajo?
What? ¿Qué significa fu?
Fue.
Fue.
This is the past tense. What was your first job?
Mi shoot. So mi fue. So no. So
Mi
mi
primer trabajo
primer
fue.
trabajo fue Nabisco.
What?
I worked for Nabisco. My first job.
But
What was my job?
What was it? Yeah.
Salesperson, sales representative.
Okay. Mi primer trabajo fue agente de ventas.
Agente de ventas. So mi primer trabajo fue agente de ventas.
¿Y cuántos años tenías?
Uno año.
¿Hace un año?
Hace
I'm
un
asking
año.
you how old you were, and you said you were 1 year old.
Whoa.
So I'm assuming
How many
that's not.
tienes? No.
Were you trying to say a year ago?
I was trying to say, I thought you were asking like how many years there. Like
no.
Yeah.
No. How old were you? Un
Oh.
año. You were selling crackers at a
It was
year.
one. ¿Cuántos años? 23.
Okay. ¿Cuál fue el trabajo de tus sueños de niña?
Okay, so what was my dream job as a kid?
Yep.
Veterinarian. So what is that? Veterinario?
Veterinaria.
Veterinaria.
Muy bien. ¿Qué opinas de las relaciones románticas en el trabajo?
What are my opinion on romantic relationships in the work? No. No bien.
Okay. All right, read these examples for me.
El plato está limpio.
Oops. Oh, sorry, go back to that. And then
El plato está sucio.
Sucio.
La bebida está caliente.
Oops.
La bebida está fría. La calle está mojada. La calle está seca. La botella está llena. La botella está vacía. El gato está cómodo. El gato está incómodo. Elvis está vivo. Elvis está muerto.
All right, nice job. That was it for lesson